Hi, welcome back to Cambridge Inside Out. And I'm Judy Nathans.
I'm Robert Winters, and our special guest today
is
Luis Vasquez.
Yay!
Right. I think, actually, Luis, were you actually on the show when we were doing it a couple years ago?
Oh,
No,
as a
I didn't
candidate?
come on. No.
Okay.
I was on a few other ones, but
Okay, all right.
never made it out to this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is like ancient history now here, but Luis, I first met Luis in the context of being a city council candidate back in 2013, right?
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
And I will say, speaking quite frankly, he was a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I enjoyed going to your kickoff down at what's the name of the restaurant over
Midwest Grill.
Midwest
Yeah.
Grill.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
really,
Brazilian grub.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
I felt like the old guy there because
no, man.
it was the most excited group of a lot of relatively recent CRLS graduates who were all there, including some of the children. In one case, at least, grandchildren of friends of mine.
Wow.
And,
I didn't even realize that.
Oh yeah. But I thought it was really great,
Yeah.
So, and I remember, as the election season, I think I probably said it to you. I said, regardless of what happens in the election, I want you to stick around.
Yeah, you did say that.
Figure,
Thank you.
There's sort of, pretty good people that you meet along the way in political circles, and some people you want them to sort of be part of all making good stuff
Can I ask
happen.
you, what prompted you to run for city council?
Honestly, I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be in politics, and
So
a lot of people
were
think
you
that.
born in? I mean,
I'm born and raised in Cambridge.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And I think my generation specifically has gone through a lot of changes.
Oh, yeah.
Within just the past 10, 15 years.
plus the city has gone through. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah, no, right. So we've experienced those
Right.
changes, is what I've met,
Yeah.
and just year after year, you're around less people that you know. The people that you grew up are no longer living here
Wow,
because
that's
they can't
interesting.
afford it.
Year and year,
and
people you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so that's part of the reason why
Yeah.
I decided to run, because a lot of the stuff that was going on around me
Sure.
I wasn't supporting,
You wanted a voice.
and I wanted to make sure that young people could come out and have a voice in the municipal world here in Cambridge, and I don't think we were seeing a lot of that. And to me, I still won. We won because now you're seeing a lot of younger people come out.
Yeah.
Ever since the 2013 election cycle.
Yeah.
To become more involved, and we've had younger candidates now as well.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely.
There were a lot of
I-
first-time candidates back
Actually,
then, right?
Susan, I just thought of it was one other thing I'll
Yeah.
be involved in this week is today and tomorrow, Cambridge Ridge Latin High School are actually conducting their student body elections.
Oh, that's happening.
And
They've adopted PR.
They actually chose
wow.
to use proportional representation. Now, regardless regardless how someone feels about this election system versus the other, the fact that there are high school age kids who are actually thinking about issues about representation,
Which is so important.
and trying to ensure that there really was a representative body. Actually, now this is small change. It's student government. It's not like they're going to be setting expenditures in the billions of dollars range
Right.
or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's important to get people going and started in that way. And the fact that they're even thinking about that, I think will be.
That's great.
If all goes well, I think we'll be I'm helping out with the vote tabulation, which will be, I think we'll do on Thursday.
Oh, they have you.
Yeah.
Quite an asset.
They help you.
Oh yeah,
Good
they
move, CRLS.
consulted him because he's like
he's
the father of it.
Even during the election,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
bug him. I'd shoot
Sure.
him emails,
Yeah.
including one time I asked him, would I be the first Latino by any chance?
Oh.
And of course, Dennis took the crown.
I was
That's
going
pretty
to say,
cool.
wasn't that
Yeah.
Dennis's first round too?
That actually was.
Yeah,
It was.
and Nadine's, right?
That's true. That's
so
true,
you were putting yourself up against a lot of first rounders.
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And in a way, we kind of all, I don't know, I don't want to say steal each other's thunder, but we all came from a fresh, organic place,
Which was nice.
great. It was
Yes.
great for voters. It was great for
Yes.
the community.
Yes.
And especially now in the long run, a lot of us are still community engaged and still
Actually, one of the
active.
things that, again, not to dwell on the past, because that was three years ago now,
3
right?
years, yeah.
But one of the things that I remember, everybody, it almost becomes cliche when you have candidates for local political office. People talk about how much they care about affordable housing, and if I'm not mistaken, you're the one who sort of said it's not just the affordability of housing; it's affordability. Period.
Right.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
How do you pay for childcare? You
Right.
got medical
Yeah.
insurance. You got
Food,
how do you
yeah.
buy groceries? How do you? It's not just the housing.
Right.
Right.
A lot of local businesses were shutting down, and other
Right.
things were being
Right.
replaced.
Yeah, exactly.
In an effort to clean up.
So how are you still involved with the community? What are you doing?
Well, pretty much since the election cycle ended, I got into doing fatherhood work here in the city
right,
of
you have
Cambridge.
okay, because you are a father.
I am a father. father, and it's so perfect how everything aligned.
Yeah.
The election came to an end, and it's kind of like everything was meant to be.
Okay.
And I've definitely found my footing and my home in fatherhood here in Cambridge, because I am a dad, especially a young dad with a story
we're
to tell.
also Facebook friends, so I get to sort of live vicariously through the lives of
And likewise.
people like Luis or Dennis.
Did you also work for were you the one that worked for the Red Sox?
I still do. I've been with the Red Sox for 10 years.
Oh my!
Yeah,
Did you
so-
know this?
No, actually, I don't think I did.
You didn't
Oh,
know
really?
this?
I didn't
Oh my
know
god!
Where do you think
Tell
all my
me.
Fenway pics come from on Facebook?
Oh!
Those are all
Wait,
original, no Google.
So you're still doing that? Is that your?
That is, yeah.
What,
so
what
I've
do
been.
you do with them?
I'm a part-time front office member with the team,
Okay.
and I don't want to be full-time
Right.
with
So they
them
allow you to
because
be
I have
part-time.
kids. You know?
Yeah.
That's so
Tough.
cool.
Yeah,
That
so
is
it's a
pretty
great
cool.
position,
So
great
you're
gig
still
to
doing
have.
that. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
so I love
Wow.
connecting.
Do you know
with
the
cool
organist there?
Josh Cantor.
Josh, he lives in Cambridgeport, and he actually also plays in a band called Second Squad.
I didn't know
which
that.
is with my friends from New York's band called the Flesh Tones. They tour together. So,
Wow.
so he's got this other little secret sideline. He actually he works at Harvard too. I think.
Wow,
doing, like,
okay.
Music
I didn't know that.
research or something.
Yeah, him and I are more on like a high and by basis.
Yeah. But
So
he's a
you're
great
in the
guy.
Great
front
guy.
office with the front office type people.
Yeah. Which is it's definitely a dream I didn't know I had come true. You know,
Yeah.
because I think back when I was in high school, I'm 28 now. Not to
Right.
date myself, I'm a geezer now.
Yeah.
You're a geezer.
Well, he's got two
What is
kids.
that?
No way. I tell people a lot. Age is just
Yeah.
a number. Who cares?
Yeah,
True. Right.
People think I'm 18 and 19 still.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
28. You know,
Yeah.
but it's okay because
Yeah.
when I'm
Actually,
50 or 60,
how
I'm
old
gonna
are
look
your
good.
kids
One is 9 and one is
Oh my
5.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a part
I
of
mean,
the growing
Theo
process.
was
becoming a
what,
dad.
26 when he became general
Yeah,
manager?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
you were there then.
When
Were
you
you
became
there?
general manager?
I mean, you said 10 years, so you were around for the second one.
My first year was 07, and we won.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, and I
So
got a
you
cool
did.
watch for that. No ring, but this time around I did get a ring. And that was pretty
Poor
cool.
baby, he didn't get
You got a ring.
man.
Wait, you got a ring in
I have a ring.
2013.
Yeah, I do. Which was it's very meaningful because
Yeah.
2013 was a big year here in the Boston community, Cambridge
Oh
community.
my gosh.
because
Yeah.
Everything that happened,
Oh,
and
yeah.
how deeply
Alright.
connected we are to that,
geez.
and also because it's the Red
So
Sox. I've been there for so long.
Are you wishing for a Chicago Cub Red Sox World Series?
I am always wishing for that. That's just
Okay,
the
I'm
ultimate.
going to be very torn, because I really feel
It would
the
sting for them to
Chicago
win against us,
Cub-
though. That
Yeah,
would-
but the
It would
Cubs are
sting.
basically Red Sox gone to Chicago, right? Come on.
Right, yeah, and same with the Dodgers. They have a lot of Red Sox people.
Oh, forget
Yeah.
the Dodgers. Yeah, but they're the ones we didn't want.
No,
But we won't go
am,
into that.
I am hoping, wishing and hoping,
Yeah.
and thinking and praying for a Cubs Red
Yeah.
Sox World
I think
Series.
every fan is.
Yeah,
That is
great.
right. Well,
And he's very
I won't give you my
premature.
preference, but that's all right.
And baseball
Yeah.
marketers too. Those guys, I'm sure that wouldn't hurt.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
So you're doing that.
So I'm doing that,
That's
and the
wonderful,
fatherhood
yeah.
stuff. It just worked out perfectly, and
Yeah.
I've been on that roller
what,
coaster since.
now that's with the city?
It's through the city of Cambridge, and I do it on behalf of. I'm based out of the Center for Families and the Agenda for Children.
Okay.
So I get to play around on both sides of the city, and they give me a lot of freedom and support to come up with programs and to implement
Yeah.
them. Such as today, actually, as of an hour ago, we just
Yeah.
launched a Cambridge Dads podcast. So
Oh
that
my
just went up. We
gosh.
just launched it.
Oh, you
Yep,
should find
so-
that info and put it on your website.
We should do that.
We just launched it.
I definitely
I'd love
want
to
hear
see
more
the
about
link.
that.
Because what we found is dads telling stories is very powerful. No
yeah.
story is the same as the next one. They're all unique.
So this isn't fatherhood this is just father celebrating to make fathers more involved with their kids. It's not is it for fathers' rights? Because
It's to get dads to be more actively engaged with their kids and their families and with each other, to support each
good.
other and to create that network.
Because I was listening to EEI, which I sometimes do in the afternoon, and there was an ad from lawyers really going after men to say your rights are, and it was a little disturbing to me.
Oftentimes we get it stripped away just for being men when there's a mom
Yeah.
involved, and I think that's changing because of the fatherhood movement.
Okay,
over
but
the
that's
years.
all right. That's good.
I
But at
think
least it's not
more
just
important than just an issue of rights. It's
Yeah.
it's responsibilities. It's just like doing the
exactly.
right thing.
And as we've evolved, a lot of roles are changing.
Yeah.
Gender roles,
Right.
that's a whole nother world, and that affects fatherhood as well.
Right.
It's okay to be a stay-at-home dad,
Sure.
and we can find ways
Yeah.
for you to be productive
So
while you do that.
podcast, that's exciting. All right.
Yeah. Now, another thing that I know you've been doing, which was because it really kind of caught my attention.
Oh, right, writing,
Was
yeah.
that you've, well, actually, you, even before you were candid, it might, correct me if I'm wrong here, you were actually putting a little column up on the Cambridge Chronicle back then, right?
Yeah,
What
it was a
the name?
blog.
What was the name?
It's Bridging the Gap.
Bridging the Gap,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Cambridge.
So
yeah.
was
And when
it-
I was doing that, I wasn't really a writer then.
Right.
I opened up a Twitter account, and messing around, I tweeted at the Chronicle, and the editor at the time was David Harris, a great
Right.
guy.
Yeah.
And he gave me that little start there, and I said, hey, it would be awesome to blog for my city. That would be
Oh,
cool. And he
okay.
DM'd me. I couldn't believe that. He
Yeah.
sent me a direct message, and we
Yeah.
went from there. He gave me the
Wow.
freedom. I posted to the staff blog. I would submit
So
things
it's
to
an
him.
online
Yeah.
column then?
It was a blog,
It was,
and then he gave me my own
But then you
page.
had to suspend that as a candidate.
And then I couldn't do it anymore.
You couldn't do it, right? But
Right. It
then
would have
you
been
came back.
fair.
When did you come back and start? You were doing. I mean, the one that really caught my attention a few weeks back was with the acting
retiring-
police commissioner,
acting,
Yeah.
Chris Burke, right? And I thought I have to just say it was like one of the most professionally done
Oh, wow. Thank you.
interviews. You know, like
Thank
this
you.
is what you want. And I have to say, you know, I really want the Cambridge Chronicle to be the be all end all again. You know, to me, communities need
So do
that.
I,
They
yeah.
absolutely need that. So when I see something like your column in there, and it was as good as it was, I said, now this is how we make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Can we
You know,
just show it briefly because people can get to it if they
Yeah,
go?
we'll give you a little
Pretty
quick
cool.
shot here.
Yeah.
here.
So
So
this
this
is
is one,
the-
and
yeah.
you've done a bunch of them.
I do them weekly. Yeah, it's a
Weekly,
new
wow.
Q&A feature.
Yeah.
We
Alright.
used to be called a Spotlight, Q&A Spotlight, but
Yeah.
the Boston Globe has
Oh,
a
the
Spotlight.
whole thing
and I
was
think-
Spotlight, yeah, you
Yeah,
couldn't
something
do
got
that.
said, so we had to drop Spotlight, but we're still doing it. Still the
Right.
same action going on. We got the Q&A
Okay.
going. But what I
Alright.
really try to do with each weekly subject is to humanize them.
I see.
And that's my goal. Not
Yeah.
just what do you do in your position
So
and
what's your
why.
what was your latest
Let's get to
subject?
know the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I can't speak more highly of it. Now, what are some of the other? You did one with
Yeah,
a
that's all I
couple.
know.
We're opening up was it a martial arts?
Yeah, the most recent one is Will Hanna and
Yeah.
his girlfriend opening
Will
up martial
Hanna.
arts students.
Doug
I know. I
Hanna's
think
son?
Doug Hanna's son. So
Right,
Cambridge is.
okay.
We all know each other.
I
See
know
that?
the name.
You know,
Yeah.
Actually, that kind of makes me feel good. We're starting
Yeah.
to become like little Hooterville
Yeah.
now. Where, oh yeah, you must be the kid of
yeah.
so and so. I knew your
S&H
grandfather.
Construction.
SNH Construction. His
Silva,
father's the
all
owner
that
of that.
stuff, yep.
So he's now opening his own martial arts school
Wow.
in West
Where-
Cambridge.
Where?
You're kidding.
Where in West Cambridge?
On Belmont Street.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
coming
West
up. It's pretty
Cambridge,
cool.
yeah.
And he's around my same age, so I love shedding the spotlight
Sure.
on people, young people especially, doing
Nice.
great things here
Yeah.
in Cambridge. It's what I've been advocating for all these years. for
Yeah.
us
So
to
is this
be
just
there.
online or is it in the print
No, it's
edition?
print and online.
It is in
Yeah.
the print.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've kind of felt for a long time really is something like the Cambridge Chronicle really I always felt they would benefit great by kind of partnering up with the people who are already here and doing things like this,
Yeah.
right? And especially now, the newspaper business is sort of dying on the vine in a lot of ways,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be. I mean, the thing is, if you really partner up with people who are there, and just probably doesn't involve much compensation, if any, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that it becomes a nice way of knitting together the community.
Do they do any other
absolutely.
local? Are there any other local writers that contribute to the Cambridge Chronicle?
Well, the ones that they have made an effort to
Okay.
be around in the community,
more,
also
okay.
holding office hours here.
Yeah.
Because when the
Oh.
office moved to Lexington,
Oh, yeah,
they
I
used to be
read
based
about that.
somewhere
That
else.
was somewhat
Yeah.
of
A couple of people voiced concern,
Yes.
so they were
That
great
they
about
weren't gonna
addressing
be-
it and going out of their way to make sure
Oh,
that they're
cool,
still
I
here
see.
and have some footing in Cambridge.
Okay.
And that's actually how we started this when that went down. Is
Right, I think
the
I read
editor and
that.
I, Amy,
Right.
just chatting about it, and I happened to ask because they were leaving, and I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna
I'm a
happen.
big fan of human interest, which is fortunately what I get to do now with
Yes.
them.
Right.
Do you guys still do the Q&A? And
Yeah.
she was like, well, we haven't done it in a while. We've been so busy with other news items. Cambridge, there's always something going on.
Oh, gosh.
And then she's like, unless you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. You know what? Let's do it. Okay, fine. Let's do it. And it was a great opportunity. And
Yeah. I mean,
to spotlight people.
Yeah.
What you do, what I've done with Cambridge Civic Journal over the years, it's sort of a form of expression, which is sort of good for
Yeah.
your soul anyway.
Right.
But the number of people you end up interacting with is sort of you end up getting a much greater sense of connectedness to the city that you live in. You know?
Right, absolutely.
So, you know, to whatever degree you're able to do this. I mean, right now you wrote the piece, like for example, with Chris Burke, whatever. You know, I bet you a lot of the folks around, like Cambridge Police Department, they go, "Oh yeah, Louis, he's okay." Right?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So you do get connected in every way when you do these sorts of things, and I just think it's a great thing.
Has anyone said no to you that you've wanted to?
No one yet. Everyone's been
Are you
very
taking
welcoming.
suggestions?
Yeah, we do all the time. I actually have a list
Yeah.
going. It's been
Okay.
pretty
Well, who
popular,
have you
which is
done
cool.
now? You've done this.
Oh, and the beauty of who I've done so far
Yeah.
is that they're all so different.
Okay.
I want to point out.
Are they archived? I mean, one could find
They're
them.
all archived,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I think if you go to the search bar here, you'll see the list. We've done Miss Cambridge, who I didn't even know existed. And so that was cool to put attention on that.
There's a Miss Cambridge?
Yeah.
There's a Miss
Oh, yeah,
Cambridge. She goes to
yeah.
Harvard. She's a senior. She probably just graduated.
Is this an active page, though?
This right here, yeah. Should be right
Yeah, I know.
there,
Well,
yeah.
it's on his website, though. See, I
Right.
think it's
All right.
But yeah, it's been such a pleasure to do that, and
Miss
especially
Cambridge? Who-
there's a Miss
Who
Cambridge.
selects that? I mean, what does that
Who's
help?
the current Miss Cambridge?
That's not in your
Alyssa
calendar, is it?
Musto.
Musto?
Yeah,
Okay.
I forget the pronunciation, but I know I spelled it correctly. but
Do we have a pageant? What do we get? Do we?
Yeah.
so
really?
she competes in local ones, and,
Yeah.
and through her competing, she won the crown of Miss Cambridge, and she's going on to compete in states.
Okay.
And then from states, you
Wow.
go to compete nationally in the Miss Universe.
It's not something we really hear about here. I
Competition,
wonder
Well, you
why.
know, it's an interesting thing, you know, like, you know, for those of us who maybe spend far too much of our time around places like City Hall, you get a really nonsensically false image of what a city like Cambridge actually is.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
You know,
Right.
The city is all the streets of the city, all the people of the city, all the little, you know, church groups and everything else everywhere, you know, and it's totally, it's not the Sullivan Chamber City.
Right,
It
right.
really isn't.
And when you have people like that, or just in general, people we're also busy in our own lives all the time, working, and you know the hustle of the times that we live in. It's great to be able to feature people and for you to get to know them as the reader, and to take this time that you may have on your cell phone on the train to get to know someone else
Well, you
within
won't
your
find me
community.
with a cell phone on the train.
Or a
he
newspaper, or the
doesn't have
Cambridge
one.
Chronicle
Yeah.
paper,
Right, yeah.
physical copy.
Proud Luddite who's never.
All right, do you read the Chronicle in paper form?
I read it. Actually, occasionally I get it on paper form,
Okay.
and usually it's only because I'm walking down Inman Street and they threw a few free copies around
they?
the front of
I
some
just read
house,
it at
and
the
I just
library.
pick one up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
sometimes because they leave a stack, because it's you can subscribe and have it mailed to your house, but they
Right.
also just
Yeah.
make it
Expensive.
available for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, which is
in
great.
places like
Yeah.
City Hall, and I think they have a stack of maybe Tuscaninis.
Oh, I didn't know.
Whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every Thursday morning they're
Yeah.
available
Right.
somehow. I don't know who
Yeah.
does it or how, but they do a great
Yeah.
job of making sure they're available.
Yeah.
So when you do the writing for that, you just sort of submit it to them, and then they just take it
Do
from
they
there.
edit it or do
The
they?
Chronicle?
Yeah.
Well, a piece of positive feedback I got from Amy, the editor, is that I don't
Right.
require a lot of editing, which is
Oh,
great.
nice.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
usually we're in touch about who I'm going to, I keep wanting to say spotlight. We don't use that term anymore, to cover for the
Right.
Q&A. And we talk about it, and she'll give me insight as if to, you know, if they recently covered that person or an
Yeah.
issue to do with that person recently,
Okay.
so that we don't kind of
Just duplicate.
duplicate the coverage, and that's great about the relationship that we've
It
had.
would actually be nice to have
with
Amy
this.
come on the program at some point.
Yeah. he's
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Actually, we've had
definitely.
interactions
Yeah.
via email.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I ever met her in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great person.
Yeah.
Great person.
So apparently
energy
she used to
and-
live like right diagonally across from me.
Really?
Oh, really?
Now she must be living out of
Next
town now,
one.
right?
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My understanding was part of the reason why it's where the Chronicle is now working at Lexington is just that, you know, if you want to be like the editor or Chronicle or other staff people, it's just unaffordable in Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
So it's just hard to operate out of Cambridge.
Yeah. It's expensive. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
even
going to
I'm sure-
Somerville and it's coming to Medford.
Yeah, I mean, I
Spreading
think
like
I
a
remember
wildfire.
the Chronicle was in 2 years and years ago. They were in Central Square, but then they were twice. They were in Davis Square. And I remember at least 2 locations.
Yep,
in
right
Davis
outside of
Square.
the T in Davis Square.
And then
Yeah, I
they
remember
moved
that.
further off into the hinterlands in Somerville, and then off into Lexington, right? So
Yeah.
sort of, you know. I think I got misinterpreted a little bit when I basically said if I had spare space or a garage, I would host them because I think
You did say that. Yeah, you did say that.
it's important. I think it would be really great if we could.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from with that. That was.
I just want to boost them, really.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think, you know, and I did actually a program here on CCTV a year or so ago. It was not one of these upfront studios,
Oh,
but
about
one of
the
the production
different
ones.
sources, yeah.
Yeah,
I
about
was
different
camera for
media
that
sources.
person, yeah.
Yeah, and
Cambridge
you know,
Day,
I sort of made the point
Kristen,
that people like me and others who, you know, blog or make websites, we just pick and choose what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a real community newspaper has to and chooses to do all the other stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be covering like school sports or occasionally I'll put together obituaries for people I know, but you know, community newspapers have to perform these important functions.
But didn't it stop being like a real, I mean, many years ago when it was bought by chain, I mean,
Gatehouse Media?
Yeah. I mean, and then Wicked Local, because they sort of had the same format. I mean, I think a lot of changes happened.
I think that, you know, patterns of ownership certainly create challenges. For a while, I think it was fair to say that some of the editors and people were sort of being imported in, and then by the time they kind of got the gestalt of Cambridge, they moved away or took another job. I think actually one fellow who was the editor, and I'm spacing out on his name now, he's a real nice fellow, but he's working for AP now, Associated Press. So. You know, whereas many years ago, you might have had the editor would stay for many years. Now, we've had some editors who really did. I mean, Amy Miller, she was living on Pine Street, actually went to her wedding. She was the editor.
Oh, wow. Pretty cool.
Right? You know, so she came here from Maine. I don't know that she planned to stay forever. It was a long time ago.
It was before Gatehouse Media, wasn't it?
I forget exactly what the change in ownership patterns were. But I really want Chronicle to grow and be more and more established.
Same, yeah. I mean, if I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing with them. And they've also given me a lot of opportunity. I've evolved over the years with them somehow, some way. I don't. It's just coincidence. Blogger and then columnist, and then now writing these feature articles.
But it all comes down to advertise, right? I mean, they have to support themselves, right? So I don't know how they do that, but.
You know, it's a mystery.
Good content.
Right, but I'm saying, I mean, do they have a big subscription? I mean, I imagine not that many people.
I think the subscriptions are a piece of it. I bet the advertising.
Well, the fact that it's online is big difference.
Yeah, and I think there's a certain amount of efficiencies when you've got multiple papers from multiple cities.
Well,
you
that's
can run
true
an ad
too.
that appears in
also the printing
cities.
of them too. And the printing, and you're right. So I think that in that way, that's a positive thing.
They make it affordable. They probably don't pay everybody very much.
Right.
You know,
there's very few staff that are actually staff, right?
Yeah. But that's why they make the effort to be all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, the Globe's moving downtown. You know, they're getting out of where they are. Next year,
they have very valuable property.
Yeah, and more it's going to be gone,
yeah.
And then but they're also reducing a lot of staff.
Yeah.
Again, but you know.
Yeah.
I still subscribe to that, but not to the Chronicle.
Were you affected by the delivery outage?
Oh, you mean and I was so conflicted about that because I really, you know, supported the worker, but I mean, they got it all wrong. They really did. What a big mistake they made.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so I never had problems, but apparently some people did. So that's why they changed the whole system. But
Right. Now, this is probably the tougher question of all. But you know, so you very much have shown your interest in more human interest things. But you know, we do actually have things like elections that happen around here. We actually have state rep elections. There's some challenges to. Is it Tim Toomey is being challenged by Mike Connolly for his seat?
Former,
this is round 2 for them.
Right. That's right.
Well, in a different context, though, right? A different seat.
I think
did he challenge before?
Yes.
He did for state.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of a gimmicky candidate the first time through Connolly.
No money, Mike Connolly.
No money.
No money.
Mike Connolly.
Yeah. You know, and it ended up being a pretty lopsided result in that Connolly did it. He sort of did some time as a council candidate, built up a little political base. So he would.
And then as an aide.
Yeah.
Right, for Carlone, and then ran against Carlone.
He has to be
right?
viewed as a much more serious contender now.
Right.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm so micro-focused on Cambridge.
Yeah.
Another half of the district is in Somerville. I have no idea who's got traction over there.
You're right.
It's sort of out of my field of view most of the time. So do you have any interest in the political side, just as, working for the candidates or following these elections?
I follow. My go-to, honestly, not sucking up, is ourwinters.com. That is where I get a lot of my information. Good plug there, too, ourwinters.com.
No, it's true, because he looks at he provides you with the agenda of the city. He gives you all
the numbers, everything. It's just so precise.
And his own opinion, which is very clear, his own opinion.
I have kind of a...
But you call it down the line, which is what I like. Yeah, it's not...
my feeling about it, this is some decision I actually made probably 15 years ago when I was first doing this, was that it was sort of a philosophy that for every 10 page, well, let's just use a page. These aren't really pages, but for every 10 pages of just useful content, that gives me the right to a page of point of view, right?
Opinion.
I would start to feel bad if, in fact, I felt that I reached the point where I was just spouting opinion most of the time.
Right.
So I mean, I don't run from it. The fact is, I can be as opinionated as the next man. Yeah. But the thing is that I also make sure I provide the service that affords me that right.
It's your house,
right? Yeah. But
right.
You have
No
to
one's
act
paying you for
responsibly
that.
in it.
Right.
Absolutely, especially because you have a big base. People rely on it like I do.
A lot of people do. It's kind of funny. How many people come up to me and
But why don't you used to have a delivery system and then you don't do that anymore?
It's sort of laziness. It's sort of like the laziness of the web.
Because then you would really know who's. Well, do you know who's going to? Do you keep stats on that?
I can't tell you who goes. I can.
No, but you can see. You get those statistics.
Yeah, I can get
how
the
many
statistics.
Hits you get?
How many thousands and thousands of hits you get, but
nice.
And I actually have to weed through that because I would
be the same person hitting.
Well, there was things like unique.
It's like the $27.
They check.
It could be the same
addresses.
person contributing the $27.
What I did is I
times.
aggressively weeded out and blocked fake addresses where there were like spam things from like Indonesia or whatever.
Oh, you actually see the addresses.
Yeah. So the thing is, if it became very clear that these were fakes, I didn't want to get hits. Apparent hits that aren't really hits.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I want to get more of an honest count.
You don't like padding your stats.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Are we ending?
Anyway, we're down to the last few seconds here. So anyway, you have to come back.
Absolutely, I want to be back. This was my makeup check.
We'll see you next week on Cambridge Inside Out.
Take care.
Bye-bye.